Yo guys, welcome back to another video here at Trader Journey. Thanks very much for joining me on yet another video. Just before we get into this video, if you haven't followed me on Instagram, which is traderjourney_official, make sure you follow me there, as I do give tips and tricks every day and I do upload many updates on my story. So be sure to check out my Instagram at traderjourney_official. So let's get straight into this video, guys. So as you can tell from the title, I did make $200 from Netflix. We are still live in the trading day. I have finished trading for the day. I just wanted to provide you guys a recap and hopefully some learning, something you can learn from this video and this scalp as to what I did in this trade and how I made such quick profit within 2 minutes. And just keep in mind, today guys was 0 DTE contracts. What I mean by that is there was 0 days till expiration, as the market is not open tomorrow for New Year's Eve. So it was really exciting to see this move. I saw it coming. I could have potentially made more, but I just wanted to prove to you guys that you only need to be in these trades for a few minutes when scalping certain stocks. And in particular, as it's 0 days till expiration, the implied volatility on these contracts is spiked really high. So any change in the stock price will cause a massive price change in your underlying contract price. So I want to talk you through this trade very quickly. So as the market opened, we had a huge rally with Netflix, and I believe it's expected. I'm quite bullish on Netflix, considering we're having so many more lockdowns and people have nothing to do but watch Netflix. So I'm quite bullish on Netflix for the next few months, even year. But I'm just going to show you guys what exactly happened. So we saw this rally, and it came into this, it rejected at a level which I have here on the chart, which was 539.49. Now I missed the whole move from market open, which was huge. And I saw it creating this bull flag. Now when it created this bull flag, you could say this was maybe a rising wedge or a rising pennant. I'm just going to quickly draw on this graph. I didn't even have this on the graph, but I'm just going to put here for the purposes of evaluating this trade. Just give me 1 second. So yes, so I mean, there was a rising wedge here, and I knew there was going to be a breakout, which it did. And I just want to show you guys how big the move actually was and how long I was actually in the trade. So as it broke above this sort of area here, I had it charted, but I've removed it. I had this area charted as well because that's the breakout line. And I knew with this rising wedge, we're either going to see a break to the upside or break to the downside. I could see from my indicators that buyers were way higher than sellers. There were so many more buyers in the market for Netflix than sellers. The indicator below shows that the blue line is the level of buyers, the red line is the level of sellers. So when you have a crossover from higher buyers to sellers, you expect the price to rise. It's simple supply and demand. And likewise, if you see the price fall under sellers, you expect the price to drop down. So this indicator is really good. If anyone wants to know what it is, let me know in the comments. But wherever you got a red line, that is showing that sellers are active in the market and are higher than buyers. If you've got a blue, that just shows buyers are higher than your sellers. So I knew there was more buyers in the market, so I was expecting to see a breakout to the upside. So as this pennant was forming, this rising wedge, if you would like to call it, I was watching in the market for this breakout above that previous high of day. And what we saw was, I waited and waited, and as we broke above that area, I realized this is the time to enter. And my stop loss was set. Because I knew below the line here, and as we were trading 0 DTE, the losses come a lot quicker. So you have to set a very tight stop loss when scalping, which adds to the fact that you should only be in these trades for 2 to 3 minutes. So as I saw that breakout, I quickly entered at the break and I exited right here at 542.18. So I'm going to mark that on the chart here and show you exactly what happened. Now the reason why that was a key area, I saw there were sellers sitting at that particular level, so I quickly entered and exited. That was a 2-minute scalp. You can see here we're on the 1 minute chart, guys. So it could be argued that I was in there for less than 2 minutes. It was probably a minute and a half, because this candle, I entered halfway through the forming of this candle. it went up, and that in itself was a $1.50 move, $2 move, which was enough to make $200 on this particular scalp. Now if I'd held, which would have been a risky, very risky, I could have potentially made $1,000 on this particular move, but it's just too risky, because as you see this reversal here, this could come straight back into the triangle and maybe even drop below. So you don't want to risk that when you're scalping contracts. You want to be in and out 2-3 minutes maximum, and avoid and have a very tight stop loss. So when scalping, it's exciting, it's fun, but very risky as well. So you need to be confident in the setups which you're trading, and make sure you enter and exit in the quickest way possible. Now Netflix is obviously very bullish right now, so I'm considering potentially buying some shares. It is going to be definitely a flyer during lockdowns, coronavirus, and if the vaccine news is causing more delays, then I do think Netflix is going to be one that's going to continue to rally. In other news, guys, just before I end it here for today's trading, I do want to show you what was happening with Facebook. Now I charted Facebook perfectly. I had this area of demand previously charted because we saw huge rallies above this area of demand. It was previously a supply zone, so I was watching it very carefully, but for me this is a very active area where buyers are sitting. I was watching this area very carefully to see if it rejected, and it did. So just as market opened, we saw it's down to the penny, guys. You can't get these levels any cleaner than they are, but we saw rejection at 271.78 straight in the demand zone. It didn't even fall into the demand zone, it rejected, and we saw a huge rally. Now if you want to go back to historical levels, you can see that's happened before previously. As I said, this was previously a supply zone. As it broke through, this was considered for me a very active demand zone, as we saw huge rallies back up to supply. So what I'm expecting here is we saw this rally all the way up to 277.04. Now I'm actively charting these particular stocks because it's stocks that I trade on an everyday basis. So now that I've got this charted, for me this is now a new supply area, which is something that needs to be considered. So I would simply chart this as an area of supply, because you can see from previous historical levels we've seen big sell-offs back into demand. So for me this is a sort of intraday level for supply and demand. We can see here it seems to be rejecting again, but it's not quite in the demand area, so we might see this fall further. As I said, the market is still live, and I thought to make this video very quickly. So we may see this rally back up to supply, but that is the move that you wanted to catch in this particular trade. It was an exciting move and a very quick move. This is on the 1 minute chart. If I showed you guys this on the 15-minute chart, you can see it a bit more clearer. Straight green candle, straight rejection on either side. So you could have played this, and look at the move, guys. If you entered here and saved 272, you could have caught 276. So considering that's $4, 0 DTE contracts, the profit percentage is insane. So I mean, these levels are perfect. They don't really miss. You want to continue to use these levels and use them to your advantage. This is my edge in the market, and it works for me. So I will continue to use what works best for me along with my other strategies. Now you can see obviously several indicators on here which I use, but I use different strategies depending on how the market is reacting and what I need to be looking at. So that's all I really wanted to cover on this video today. I hope you got some value as to how I scalp, and hopefully you guys can implement a similar strategy. If you are looking to learn more or follow my signals and trades, I do have a community that is now live. I'll leave the link in the description box below. It is capped at 40 members, unfortunately. I will look to increase it at some point, but for now it is going to be a very limited group, as I want to make it a personal experience so everyone can learn and reach me if they need any help. So if you have any questions as well, feel free to DM me on Instagram or leave it in the comment section below, and I will catch you all on the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Take care. Goodbye.